On the 13th episode of the Reframe podcast, Arafaat Ali Khan. Arafaat is the first name that comes to mind when you talk about pop culture in the Middle East. He launched the comicon in Dubai and grew it 4 times in a couple of years. In this episode, we talk about his passion and perseverance in following his dreams to build a business around his love for comics, movies, and action figures. If you get value out of this podcast, the best way to support me is to share it with your friends, whether in casual conversation or through social media. Let's get on with the 13th episode of Reframe podcast with Arafaat Ali Khan. This episode is brought to you by Dubai Copyright Office. Whether you're an established business, a startup, or even a social media influencer, you need to protect your intellectual property. Dubai Copyright Office is one of the leading service providers in the MENA region in the field of intellectual property. They provide comprehensive advisory services related to intellectual property strategies for protecting business assets as well as getting additional financial benefits out of it. The company provides turnkey solutions from the collection of primary documents to the delivery of the certificate. Start protecting your most important asset today. Go to www.dubaicopyright.ae and use promo code reframe2020 to get 5% discount and free consultation. www.dubaicopyright.ae, promo code reframe2020. Good to see you, man.
And you. It's been way too long.
Way too long, yeah.
Yeah.
So much has happened.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
All
even
of
know
us.
where to start, right?
Yeah. Let's start with the weather.
Let's not, please. Gosh.
How's the weather?
It scares me every time. I think this is the first time it's actually rained through the night consistently.
2 days. 2 days. And I think it's going to rain tomorrow as well.
Like from the whole night today till tomorrow. It's going to be crazy.
And it's worse in the north.
I'm sure, yeah. Thankfully, there's not actually that much flooding where I am. And we actually have a petrol station inside the community, which is amazing. So only our people go there, right? So I thought, okay, I'll fill petrol before I come today. Yeah. And I was going towards it, and that one turn, which I take usually, was completely flooded. And I was just like, So I was like, okay, how much petrol do I have left? Okay, I'll be all right. I'll be all right today. Apart from that, it's been nice. It's nice. Actually, the weather is actually quite nice.
Finally, yeah.
It's nice to have a little bit.
It's not winter.
It's not been for a few years, actually.
Yeah, true.
Unless it's a bit windy.
There might be something to this global warming.
What global warming?
Oh, I know.
Are you next? You're going to tell me we live on a round earth? Come on, who have you been hanging out with? How's your action figure collection going?
So when I moved, I was telling Anisa that I moved a few years ago. I actually finally did the honor of giving my collection a room.
Finally.
So I have one room which is kind of my work room with my work desk and chair. And I usually just work on the sofa downstairs, so it's literally the toy collection room. So I've got all my 1 to 6 scale figures on one side, and the other side is the statues and things like that. And in the middle, I've got the Legos, which is mainly Star Wars Legos and stuff like that. But I'm not collecting that much anymore. Often I'll do the ad hoc. Oh, this is really nice.
Are you growing up, Arafaat?
No, totally not. No. There's a caveat. Don't worry. So what I'm focusing on now is actually I've gone back to collecting comics regularly.
Okay.
So there's
where it all started, actually.
Yes, very true. Where it all started. And there's this really wonderful comic book shop that's opened up here that's giving comic collectors in UAE and the Middle East what they've always needed. Called Comic Stop. So, I'm one of their regular customers. I try and set myself a budget every month that I will not spend more than this on new comics.
How often do you exceed that? Or how
Not
often?
very often. Honestly, it's 1,000 dirhams.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
The budget, I was like, I can spend $1,000 on myself,
Yeah.
regularly. Apart from other stuff, we go out and all of that. Not often. It does happen, when there's some special editions will come and you're like, oh my God, I have to have this, you know.
Do you have a monologue with yourself like, should I
yes,
not?
Yes.
I should. And then you're justifying it with your, you know.
Totally, my God. It's like, it happens way more often than you probably think, you know.
Because the good thing is you seek permission. At least that's that. It's not like I'll do this and then I'll ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, true. No, because see, the annoying thing is these comic book publishers, they know us collectors, they know how we think. Yeah. So most comic issues now have multiple covers. The special comics like the 1000th issue of this or the 100th issue of that will have like a ridiculous amount of covers, like 10 plus. Oh, and wow. You often people will be like, okay, I want to get 5 of the covers and 6. But you know what I realized? I did that a few years ago, and then I realized, you know what? I buy comics to read them and enjoy them. Yeah. I don't necessarily buy for them to appreciate and value and then resell them, even though a lot do appreciate and value.
Right.
I've never sold one of my comics.
How many do you have? It's like asking a woman how many bangles or jewelry, what her gold collection or diamond collection is.
Man.
Do you even have a number?
No. Like I'd say there's probably at least 2,000 to 3,000. Probably more.
Do you ever go back?
I do. You know, time these days you don't get much off, but sometimes when I do say, okay, I'm going to take this time off just to relax, because when you have your own work every day, you're like, okay, this might be an opportunity, blah, blah, blah.
Marvel or DC?
I collect both, and I collect independent as well, but I skew towards Marvel.
You're my man.
I always
was scared you'd say DC, and I would just have to get up and walk out.
I have nothing against them, but I grew up on Marvel comics. They were more easily available, so it's something that sort of hit home easier. Yeah. Though I always did like Batman, so I will often get Batman issues and Batman specials. I'll always pick them up, and there are sort of ad hoc specials. Like DC Comics has got this adult label now called Black Label, DC Black Label.
Okay.
Or DC Black, I think. And I'm picking up most of those because they're quite cool and they're self-contained, like 3 issues and you're done.
Oh, okay.
So that's a really nice way. You don't have to like lose yourself in like multiple crossovers and things like that. So yes, I'm not growing up, don't worry.
Yeah, growing old is beyond us. Growing up is optional.
Yeah, right? And it's what I do, right? I've been blessed to, make a living out of what I really love. I know it's a blessing, because
dude, comicon.
Yeah. I'm just thinking
before comicon, I need to, because literature has been a part of his life because of Auntie. Mm-hmm. And so were you ever forced to read like the proper novels, or were you always inclined towards these?
No, I did do the proper stuff.
Yeah.
And I like reading, actually. Honestly, I always loved reading. I skew more towards comic books now just because of time, and it's easier, just for me, it's easier to read them than like novels. I'll read like maybe one a year, whereas I'll read hundreds of comics a year. But like even in high school and everything, when it became optional, like what are your extra courses going to be in O-levels and A-levels and stuff like that, I chose English literature.
Oh, okay.
So I went through all the craziness of Shakespeare and James Joyce. Oh my God, James Joyce.
Our auntie must have been proud.
And she was happy, so that was there, and it was enjoyable, but my heart was always on the pop culture side.
When did it happen? When was that moment? The moment
you
realized?
Yeah.
See, before the comic book collecting or reading started, it was because in Dubai, there was literally just one English channel and one really nice Arabic channel where you had cartoons and things. And that's what I'd watch. I'd watch the Arabic stuff, even though I didn't understand much at the time.
And Channel 33.
And Channel 33.
Yeah.
And they had the best freaking shows. Sorry. Oh my God, Nikhil. All right. And they had the best shows.
Yeah.
Honestly,
They
that
did.
childhood, they did it right, man.
Yeah.
The best animated stuff, He-Man, Mask, Bionic 6, the list goes on. You know, I'll still go on YouTube and watch openings of stuff, Centurions and things like that. And they had the coolest, I mean, I think the 80s had some really cool shows like A-Team and Knight Rider and Airwolf and stuff like that, which, you know, as a kid, that was like, whoa.
Yeah. It was way beyond its time.
Yeah, you know, what are these amazing worlds, you know? And that really got me into it. And my dad, when he was working, he was a filmmaker as well. He was in advertising and he was the director. He was the one behind the camera. He was the concept artist, you know, at the time used to do everything. And he was also very interested in how things were made and stuff. And I remember he once, you know, you used to go and borrow VHS tapes from the stores, you know, those good old days. They, you know, our place was really good. They got the making of The Empire Strikes Back. Okay?
Star Wars.
And he brought that and we watched it together and stuff. And I was like enamored. Not the movie.
Yeah.
The movie I watched. But when I watched the making of, somehow
that is
these
always
little models and stuff and how everything
it's always much more you know, fascinating.
Yes, that's the right word. Fascinating. Yes.
And then you realize, that was a tiny model, and they made it look so grand.
And you know, they did it frame by
frame. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the models and stuff. I got enamored. So that was the Star Wars obsession started, and then the sort of the animated cartoon and superheroes obsession started because there used to be Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and other Spider-Man cartoons on as well, and that's where it really started. Then I have an older brother, as you know. He's 6 years older, so he, at a young age as well, got a few comics one day. Before I think I was old enough to really, and I was just also like, ooh, this is interesting. And then I convinced my parents that, buy me comic books as well, because I'm interested in art, and this will help me with my art. It was all a ploy.
Yeah, I'm like, art? You?
But I was, I was showing some of my own artwork. I was actually really good. I still have some of my old stuff.
Wow.
And I was like, hey man, I was talented back then. None of it lasted. And that's how really it started, to answer your question. You know, I still have the first comics I bought. They're still part of my collection.
Wow.
Yes. Which was
Hulk. What? How many years ago?
It was 1980. Oh gosh, end of the 80s, 88.
Wow.
So around 30 odd years.
30 years ago. So I would have been 10, 88.
10ish,
No, a little older. Yeah. So that's when it really started sort of getting like collecting. I mean, back in the day, you had to go to grocery stores. You had to go to Chowdhuram. You had to go to Safest Way. You know, and hope you
have something,
you know, or I haven't missed it, or there was no
dedicated kind of stall just between in the newsstands and things like that.
From school, you went into marketing, right?
So I did university and I went straight into marketing. And my first job was DHL, which was really cool actually. You know what, I've had when you start talking about it like this, you realize how blessed your life has actually been, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. Yes, I went into marketing with the DHL, like literally straight after I got out of university, which was amazing. That was 3 great years, worked with some amazing people, learned so much, you know, like fresh out of, school. And then we worked with an ad agency there, and they kind of poached me. So they said, we like you so much, why don't you come work for us? And, for, early 20s, 22 or something, or 23, they offered me a salary of 11,000 dirhams.
Wow.
At that time.
Wow. So for me, it was like, oh my God, windfall. Like I was like, holy crap, what? I'd been making half
I'm sure.
of that, and I was happy. It was a good salary, for somebody new. So it was a really nice, I really loved the people, and they brought me on because they had the Microsoft account. I was like, cool, work with a really great, good brand as well. And so was with them, and then 6 months in, Microsoft went through a global restructuring, or started going through a global restructuring at that time. This was early 2001, 2 maybe. And they stopped all work, all branding. So this was a branding agency.
Oh, okay.
And because that was their biggest account, right?
Yeah.
And more or less the owner came to me and said, Arafaat, we can't afford to pay you.
Oh my
because there's nothing for you to do. And I couldn't even argue because I understood.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So I was made redundant.
How soon into the job?
6 months in.
Oh.
6 months in.
Terrible.
I was living the high life and then I was unemployed for 6 months.
Oh.
I was looking for jobs. People were offering like $3,000. And I was like, dude, like 6, is what I was saying. Okay, this should be fair,
Yeah.
And it was like a really bad time. And then I got this offer, which was decent. I think it was like $5,000-6,000, which was in public relations, PR. I was like, I don't know anything about PR, but hell, let me give it a shot. And they really liked me. It was a very young team. My boss, which eventually I got the job, my boss was, I think, like a year older than me.
Oh, wow.
And he was like the director.
Oh, okay.
Lebanese guy, super switched on, really cool. And that was the start of that career, really. I realized that actually I'm quite good at PR.
Okay.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I guess because I am good with people, right?
Yeah.
I think what I have been told, so I'm not being egotistical when I say this, is that I'm easy to talk to, and like I'm an
PR is not a rocket science. It's basically being.
You have to be a good
You have
person.
to be open and you have
people's
to be,
person.
You have to be a decent person.
Yeah.
You have to be open, so the other person can actually talk to you.
Which I sometimes see some PR people and I'm like, how are you actually doing this job? So that was really great, and I had it was a brilliant time actually. I think about it. I worked on Lufthansa. That was my first account. They brought me on because they needed, not as a senior, but to help the boss handle Lufthansa. And wow,
from Microsoft to Lufthansa to wow,
right?
Yeah.
And traveling, going to Germany for events and conferences and stuff. Oh, we're launching the new business class. Arafaat, come and take some journalists. Like, okay.
Arafaat would be caught saying no, I'm busy.
Right? So that was wonderful. And then there were some shifts and changes. The company got bought over, but luckily we kept our structure as an agency and stuff. And then moved. Not that much. I think I moved to one other place that again sort of grew into a bigger thing. So I've never been the sort of person who likes to jump around too much. I like to be loyal if the people are good. If the people are good, if the team is good, I'll stay there. I'll because I want to help it grow as well with me. And then, I worked in Audi.
Oh.
For 5-6 years. So at that time, I was at an agency and we were working with another, and if I'm talking too much and you want to interrupt, please don't. Talk.
I want more of this.
Okay. So at that time, the agency was a independent, full service agency. So there was design, there was PR, almost independent companies within a big company.
Okay.
Right. So I was part of that. And we were working with this other agency that didn't have a PR arm, and we were helping them as their PR agency, right? Whenever they needed anything. And, we really liked them. Myself and my colleague, Nick, really great guy. We really, really got along with that other agency, So, one day we were talking, and And we were like, let's start something ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, but let's make it easy for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
You know, now let's start at sort of ground zero.
Yeah.
So we approached this other agency and we were like, listen, why don't we come and start your PR division?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, and the owner was like, it's about time you said that. I've been hoping you guys would say that for ages, you know. But there was swearing in it in a very nice way. Which was
Right.
so, you know, like our kind of people. So that's what happened. Went and started PR part of this agency called Extra Cake. And Nick, who was my partner at the time, he had to leave back to UK for personal reasons. And I was just like, you're leaving me alone to run this PR agency all by myself. Dude, what the hell?
Yeah.
So that was interesting. That gave me, I guess, the first hint of running almost your own company and being responsible for how much money comes in to your own pocket as well.
Yeah.
You know, even though there was that security blanket of being part of this agency,
Yeah.
if I didn't make money, how are they going to pay me?
Yeah.
Right? They're not
Yeah.
going to take money from somewhere else and say, here you go, Arafaat. No,
Yeah.
this is your responsibility. This is what you have to run.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting
That's
And it's
extra.
completely
extra cake.
Extra
it's a
cake.
complete different ball game from being an employee, then now suddenly being
Yeah.
responsible for the whole damn company, you know.
You know?
And then you have other employees to pay, you know, rather than just worrying about your
Man,
business.
for a while, like, because obviously very important part is to have a good Arabic speaking colleague
Yeah.
who can read and write.
Yeah.
That's very
True.
important PR.
100%, yeah.
You know, now it's becoming even more specialized that people have there. There are just copywriters, there are media, you know, forward-facing
Yeah.
media, there are client servicing, there's, you know, so many people that are English speaking, Arabic speaking, bilingual.
Yeah.
But back then, it was like, can you do everything? Okay, good, come. You know? Yeah, we'll teach you. And there was a time where it was just me. And we would outsource Arabic.
Right.
And I knew enough Arabic that sometimes when clients would come back with changes and I was like, oh my God, this needs to be done really quickly, I would type the changes out myself because I understood the Arabic characters and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know. I maybe wouldn't be able to understand the sentence,
Yeah.
but when I saw that, okay, he's added this letter here, yes, this makes sense, okay, I can change. So it was nuts, but it was an experience.
And for how long did that entire period last with
See, so
is Comic-Con a part of?
yeah, so
That's around the time that it happened.
yeah, so I was focusing on this PR part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The PR arm of Extra Cake, and then why I liked working there is because the people were so similar-minded geeks. You
Right.
know, they liked action figures, they liked comic books, Star Wars, sci-fi, all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff. So it was a beautiful place to work because, you know, you would chat
Yeah.
every so often, just chill and stuff. So the owner of the company and my owners at that time, myself and one other person, we were chatting one day, and this rant started. I don't know where, I don't even remember where it came from, this rant, and about Comic-Con. We were discussing Comic-Con and stuff, and I was just like, man, why isn't there a Comic-Con here? You know, like, it's so unfair. We're just as big fans as anyone in the world.
Yeah.
You know, there should be one here and so. And you know, sometimes when you have that epiphany moment where
Yeah.
you're like talking, and then
Yeah.
you're like, wait,
It's not, yeah.
we do design,
Yeah.
we do PR,
Yeah.
we do communications, and we do events,
Yeah.
and we're geeks.
Something's missing.
Yeah. Why don't we do this? You know, so that's where literally that the idea stemmed from this rant that we were having one day and just chilling and talking, and this epiphany kind of struck, going, oh.
This is
why don't we-"
2015, right?
No. The idea conception
Yeah.
was actually 2010.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And it took around, first one was? I think,
2012.
2012.
We did our first one in 2012.
Okay.
The first one was actually supposed to be 2011, actually. So here's how the story went. Wow. You know, like just recounting
Yeah,
this
just like,
sometimes, you're just
wow.
like, whoa.
So how does it work? Sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
So is it similar to what the concept of TEDx is? So you organize your own and then you get licensed from TED?
No.
But, okay.
There's no license.
Okay.
You don't need a license. If you want to do a Comic-Con tomorrow, you can do a Comic-Con tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
But isn't there a set of guidelines and, so for example, like how TEDx works, right?
Yes,
so you have to get it approved from them, passed out from
yes.
them. They make sure that it's according to their standards. Nothing like that for Comic-Con.
So what is a Comic-Con? It's a comic book convention.
I know, but over the years, it has grown into a really significant part of the pop culture.
So you have companies that do multiple conventions.
Right.
Like you have ReedPop, for example, which is part of Reed Exhibitions, huge. They do, New York Comic Con, which is now one of the biggest cons in the world. And they have lots of others. They're branching out around the world now as well, Africa, and, you have Informa, which currently owns Middle East Film and Comic Con. And, there are a few others. There's San Diego that started it all in the 70s, but they just do that, But if you want to do a comic book or a pop culture or any convention, you can do it. It's just, will you get that content? Will you have the trust that people will come? Will you have the trust and the professionalism that artists will say, you know what, I want to come to your event. Yeah. Do you have the financial backing to be able to do it? There's a lot, to be able to do it properly. Over the years, there's a lot of people who've tried.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Some of them have been successful, some of them not so much. And I feel that often it comes down to this, that either they're super fans and they're like, oh man, we need to do something really cool for our community or whatever, which is a very nice thing to do. Or you're very commercial, saying, oh man, we can make a ton of money from this, let's do it. What we were is what
right
we
in the
were
middle.
Both.
Yeah.
We were both.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it worked.
Yeah.
Because you weren't skewed one way or the other, So I think it's super important for that, because man, when we first did it, so 2010, 2011, we started doing research. As you need to do because we didn't own any events. We had clients as agency, right? We did events for other clients. We did PR for other clients. Nothing of our own. This would be a very new thing, very different thing. So obviously you have to do your research. And we went to companies, we went to big brands to pitch.
Yeah.
Right.
The idea, we did a really nice, deck and everything. And mostly the feedback we were getting was, what are you talking about? A comic book convention? Are you mad? This is the feedback we were getting. Like, even, look, from a marketing person, from a person who's studied this, who's done this for most of his life, I was going out to a lot of these companies thinking, my God, what an easy sell this is going to be. Because I am creating an event for exactly your target audience. Youth, you can't target them any other way. They're a very difficult, group segment to target unless you go on social media and that sort of stuff, right?
And even then it's very segmented. But with Comic-Con, with these characters, it's like universe comes together.
It is.
Honestly,
it is.
And it doesn't matter who you follow, Marvel, DC, whatever. There's going to be everything.
It's that culture, isn't it?
It's a culture. If either you're a Marvel fan, or you're a DC fan, or you're a Star Trek fan, or you're a Star Wars fan, they are very very proprietorial about their their preferences. But when they all come together, they're all geeks in the end.
It is. It's so true. Yeah. But it was. You see, you get it, right? I said it, and you were like, "Yeah."
You don't need to sell it to people who understand it. No?
Yeah.
But I was going to big marketing directors. We were going, and I'm talking big brands. I'm not going to mention some brands that really shocked me. And these marketing people were so bloody old school, excuse my language, that it frustrated me. They were like, no, this is not our brand audience and stuff. And I was just like, wanted to grab these people by the collar and go, what is wrong with you? This is exactly your audience.
Because the age, I'm sure they were of an older generation and they didn't understand it. They were like, "Ha, bacche hain."
Yeah, exactly. And on the flip side, there were some people who we went to, there'd be this guy in a suit and tie and stuff like that, older guy and stuff. And you'd be talking about it and he'd be like, and then you'd mention something like Grandizer. especially if they're from the Arab world. And they'd be like, Grandizer, yes, tell me more. You know? Because this is what people grew up with in the early 80s and late 70s and stuff. And this was their childhood. And when you sort of touch on that, they were just like, oh, right, I get it. Tell me, you know. Yeah. So there was this sort of dichotomy going on. So we were supposed to do the first event in 2011.
Wow. Okay.
And then Arab Spring happened, the whole revolution in Egypt and stuff. And we were just like, oh man, this is going to be in such bad taste to do this celebration, like when all of these things, people are suffering, massive change and stuff. So we had announced the event. It was going to be in Abu Dhabi.
Oh.
Okay.
The first one. It was going to be in Abu Dhabi. And because of this,
you
had to scrap it. And we put out a story saying we really apologize. Thankfully, we hadn't gone very far. We hadn't booked much. You know? We really apologize.
And I'm sure people understood and they connected with that.
And they appreciated it. We actually got really good feedback from it, which I was so, as a PR person, you're like so scared because you don't know which way people will swing, you know. So I was happy that they realized we were doing it for the right reasons. Okay. Anyway, things thankfully got better in our region. So 2012, April, we decided, we're going to go to Dubai. I'm thankful that the first events were in Dubai and we stuck there eventually. It was a nice sort of like place at Mina Siahi, near Barasti. They had this wonderful open lawn area where they do the boat show and stuff. And they had this 2-tier structure. So January comes, the event's in April. We don't have any sponsors. So here we are all sitting, going, what do we do? Because we have to book celebrities. Yeah. We have to book artists. We're bringing down the publishers because publishers from the US and all of that, they're not going to come for an event that, no one knows about. Yeah. So we were saying, okay, we will fly you. But we just want to use your branding saying that somebody from IDW or whatever is coming, and they were like, that makes sense, that works for us and stuff like that. There's so many little bits of the story that I miss when I say this, because I just remembered something. We had such amazing support from a few people. So Kinokuniya had just opened, I think 2011 or something, or maybe they had just opened, and they had a comic book section, first comic book section in the Middle East. And the gentleman who was running it is actually, we're really good friends now. Okay. Because we worked together for so long, and he was a geek as well and stuff. And when we're just, whenever he visits now from Singapore, we meet up for meals and stuff. And he always gets me a gift, like pop culture gifts. It was so sweet. Anyway, so they were a big, Kinokuniya is a big brand. Yeah. Right. So they were ordering in big quantities. So when you order comic books and pop culture related stuff, at that time there was really, and even till now to be honest, the biggest distributor of these was this company in the US called Diamond Distributors. They distributed books, and they're massive. If you Google them, and they were like, they had the biggest sort of distributorship of comics and figures and stuff like that globally. So obviously they were ordering in Kinokuniya, were ordering from them, as you do. And the gentleman from Kinokuniya introduced one time the VP of sales from Diamond Distributors is coming, and he calls Index was his name from Kinokuniya. Index called me. He's like, Arafaat, this guy from Diamond is here. He's the VP of sales. Wow. Do you want to meet him? And I was like, So we had a meeting. The two of us, we met him. Really nice guy, Ku, who works for Read Pop now, actually. Mm-hmm. And we got along really well. And he supported us so much. Yeah. Meeting these two bloody guys, like geeks, he doesn't know from Adam, as they say. And I guess we showed him the passion that we were doing things in the right way. Yeah. And that we were going to do justice to it in the region. So, when we were reaching out to publishers in the US, they were like, who the hell are these guys from the Middle East?
But did you ever feel the burden that you'd be like, all the geeks in the Middle East, not just Dubai, not just Abu Dhabi, the UAE, the Middle East were looking at you, your company, to do justice to this Comic-Con here? Was there just a little bit of pressure?
In the beginning, I was more worried about our jobs. Because if we failed, that company would have been over. Because we put everything into it.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I'm being totally candid. Like year one, that's what it was. We were worried that if this does not work, we have invested so much into this ourselves because we weren't getting sponsors.
Yeah. So eventually, did you get sponsors? Not
some yes, not that kind of money that we were hoping for, right?
Right.
And we had booked celebrities, right?
Wow.
I think first year we got Jason Momoa.
Oh.
When it was the year where he just come off of Game of Thrones, season 1.
Right.
Spoilers. We got him super affordable at the time because that's what he was known for and not what he's known for now. We had a brilliant lineup for year one. Honestly, again,
thinking that it's just the first edition,
such a good lineup. We were so lucky, the stars aligned and stuff, and people were free, and we managed to book these people at decent prices because Dubai helped as well in the sense that the lure of Dubai, I've heard so much about Dubai. I wouldn't mind going and checking it out. A con in Dubai, sure. So, they weren't necessarily overcharging and stuff like that, which was so nice at the beginning. And Dubai tourism was really on board as well. So we got really lucky with some fantastic support, of people believing in us.
And did the Dubai government were they skeptical in the beginning or were they on board from the beginning?
I'm sure you would have found some people to connect with over there as well.
Exactly.
It's always about that. Somebody has to align with you in terms of the interest, the passion in the whole pop culture.
There was these two ladies who are still there, and I'm very grateful and still try and work with them, who got it.
Oh.
They were like, oh, this is very interesting. Okay, we'll support you with the Dubai calendar and stuff like that. So, so here's the little story. So we did the press conference. It was a 2-day event when it started, Friday and Saturday. So Friday we did the press conference, right? And the press conference was in this tent, which was away from the entrance area because it was quite small that first couple of years. And the press conference ran on. Press conference should be 40 minutes max. If things are really, this thing ran on for over an hour.
Oh, wow.
And we really wanted to because it was myself and my colleague Ben, and we really wanted to get out of there because we didn't know what's going on outside. Are people coming? Is it a total flop?
Yeah.
Are we going to have to look for jobs? So this went on and on because the media, this was something new for the media. We had the celebrities up there and the media was able to ask them questions and stuff. So it was something really special for everyone. It was a beautiful experience. But we were just like, oh God, wrap this up, we need to go. So eventually, we were like, oh, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. And, we're sort of walking out and stuff. And one of colleagues comes towards us. And he's like, have you heard what's happening outside? And we were just like, we're screwed, man. We're like, no, what? It's like, there's a traffic jam on Beach Road, people trying to get into the event. And we were like, oh, okay. And that's where it all started.
People were really serious about dressing up.
Oh my gosh, the cosplayers. I was blown. I mean, honestly, the community has and continues to blow me away. The passion.
Right.
That they would be stuff on Halloween's, but not on that scale.
The level, the year one, I watched most of the cosplay competition. Not all of it because running around and stuff. And some of the costumes that were going on, I was like, they made this here in our part of the world? What? Really? And there was this one cosplayer who to this day is absolutely brilliant and continues to cosplay, and he's met his wife who also cosplays and they're amazing.
Did he play the Darth Vader once?
No. He did, do you know Tekken? The video game Tekken?
Yeah.
So you know Jin Kazama?
Yeah.
With the devil Jin with the wings.
I'm not familiar with the names.
So he's got wings, this devil Jin. Okay? So this guy comes up, Saudi national, Saud, Vega cosplay, comes up. Nobody knew who he was at the time, right? Because there was no community, so to speak.
Yeah.
Comes up and we were all like, wow, that's a brilliant freaking costume, man. And then he does this, and the freaking wings open. And and everyone was just blown away. I mean, it was an international standard of cosplay from year one. That's, I was just like, okay, all right, we can do this, And I mean, he won that year, obviously.
Naturally.
And just seeing the people.
The passion, I can imagine.
It's just so beautiful, so wonderful. Like, you'd have families who, I'd have a baby in a crib, in a pram. And the parents are dressed up as Batman and Batgirl. Simple, like this cape and a shirt. And the baby, they've dressed him or her up as well as a little Batman t-shirt. And this. And I was just like, dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just that passion from day one totally made us go, you know what, we have to keep on improving this.
And you did.
And thankfully we
went.
did.
And from strength to strength.
It wasn't so much us saying that let's make it bigger. Yeah. Let's make it bigger. It was more or less the fans, like year 2, because this structure that was there, okay?
Right.
It was meant to be not a permanent structure, but they had it there. They used to do Ramadan iftars there and stuff like that. Yeah. And there's a set number of people who, when you do Ramadan iftars,
so how many people visited the first one? Do you have a figure?
I believe it was 12,000 for a first year.
Oh wow!
2 days just? That's incredible.
For a first year event.
It's amazing.
I mean, that was, I think, if I remember correctly, 8,000 tickets sold, and then the rest comps. You do so many comps, but still, for a first year event, that was insane. Wow. Like I remember, we had pre-sold like maybe 1,000 tickets or something, and we were, excuse my language, but shitting bricks because they were like, we need to sell at least 10,000 tickets to not be bust, And Virgin Megastore, who was our ticketing partner, I think through all the years, that first year, they were like, this is amazing. We were like, what? We've sold 1,000 tickets. What's wrong with you? They were like, no, you don't get it. You're like, the culture here is not to pre-buy back then. I think it's getting more so now. But back then in like 2012, the culture wasn't there to pre-buy, except unless it was like a big concert or something like that. And they were like, the fact that you've pre-sold this many, it's something really special, because these kind of events don't do this.
Right. And maybe that's an indicator that people will
eventually
buy.
This is what they were saying. Yeah. This is what they were saying. We were, doing our first event going, yeah, right, okay, whatever, dudes. This is not 10,000 tickets, But people came. Year 2, that structure, we had to put security on there after a few hours after the show opened, because we were scared that the top floor was going to collapse because there were so many people. So we had to make a queue system that X many people are up. Then when they're finished and come down, then the next set of people go up.
Oh my God.
So then that's when we realized that we probably need a bigger venue.
Right.
And that's when sort of Trade Center, the talk started with them saying, look, we're still small, but let's do it. So we took 2014, took our first space in Trade Center, and we got, I don't know if it was a little bit more or a little bit less than 40,000 people.
Are you kidding me?
This was a 3-day event then. But 40,000, we were gobsmacked. I mean, everyone was.
So that's like in 2 years, you go from 12,000 to 40,000.
It was 12, then I think the next year was 18, and then that big jump still happened to 40.
Wow.
It was still a huge jump. But I think it was also because, that Trade Center, it does have accessibility. There's metro.
Right. Yeah.
That makes a huge difference when it comes to younger audiences.
True.
I can just
and also the word of mouth, and then people knowing that this is going to be interesting.
It was very organic.
Yeah.
It was very organic. We were doing similar kind of marketing throughout, and it's interesting that you mentioned that. So the marketing that we were doing was very grassroots. We would go to communities. We would go to game cafes, and be like, hey man, support us. We'll give you few free tickets.
Right.
Can you put our logo and the dates up on all your screens? And that turned into like, if you did that with one cafe, that was like 50, 60 screens that had your stuff on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I really feel that this is often why events still continue to fail. Is because in this part of the world, is because they're not marketed well enough. People think, okay, you know what, we'll do some stuff on social media, and
that's
that'll be enough.
Yeah.
No, you need to do more. You need to connect with your community. You need to connect beyond the social Facebook, Twitter, and all of that. It's great, don't get me wrong, but you need to go beyond that.
Right.
Yes.
I think that was one of the big reasons we succeeded, because we went in there. We were part of that community.
Yes.
So going to a gaming cafe, we knew that gaming cafe.
Yeah.
See, now looking back now, that it worked out so well because you were part of the community and you were that geek, right? Who understood it. But suppose if you were just an agency handling the PR of somebody else doing it, I don't think you would go out of the way like that, or even connect with the community on that level. You would do your job as a PR company, but that's about it.
Yeah, see, the ownership made a huge difference. It did.
And I'm saying from the part of not just the ownership as a company, but as it's a double whammy. So you're the owner of the whole thing, plus you're also into it.
Yeah.
So like today, if you ask me to organize a concert, I would connect with it deeper than any other event because, I dig music. I love that.
Yeah.
And something related to my genre of music, I would go out of my way without anybody asking me or wanting me to do it.
That's why people say that, try and do what you love.
Yeah.
And I know it's, people say, that's a pipe dream and stuff like that. You know what, I've always, this is what, when people ask me that, they were like, oh, but you got lucky. Yes, I did get lucky. I found the right people and stuff.
Dude, to get lucky, you gotta be there.
Exactly. You gotta be there and you gotta keep that passion alive. I mean, a lot of times...
It's about the process.
Yes.
So I always quote Gary Vee on this. You have to be in love with the process.
Right.
If you're in love with the process, then you're there when the opportunity knocks.
Yes. It finds a way. I mean, like, look, you can be a banker, right? But you can still love something like making a podcast.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to put my heart and soul into this regardless. I'm going to make time for this.
Yes.
Right? So this is what I always say this when people are like, but I need to pay the bills. Of course, I needed to pay the bills as well. Everyone needs to pay the bills. But, okay, what's your passion? Oh, I love writing. Okay. So every week on Friday, write one page.
Dude, get off Netflix.
Yeah,
get off
one
YouTube,
page.
rabbit
That's
hole,
it. Yeah.
and write.
Right. Write a page. That's not hard. A page is nothing, right? It'll take you half an hour, 1 hour? No, that's it, right? And that's where you start. Like when I was in university, I loved this stuff so much. There was this one module. I don't remember what the module was, but we had to do. We had to do end of term projects, thesis, or whatever. So it was some business course that I had done, and I convinced my team, because we were all like-minded people. I was like, let's do this on opening up a comic book shop in Dubai. This was back in like 96.
So you always knew this, that...
Not knew, Lisa, but I always wanted can we add something? Can some pop culture come to... And throughout, doing marketing, doing PR, I stuck to my passion in some way.
Yeah.
Comic books, collecting action figures, watching stuff, whatever it may be. So it was a part of my life throughout. So, this might sound like spiritual mumbo jumbo, But when you do that, you attract that.
Yeah.
What you do, you attract.
Yeah.
True.
You
Okay?
become what you believe.
Yeah, exactly. So I truly feel, yes, being at the right time, the right place, blah, blah, you still have to make the effort. It's not like you just sat around doing nothing.
You're like the godfather of pop culture in the UAE. No, seriously, that's it. It is.
It was a team effort. It was a team effort, honestly. If it was just me, it wouldn't have happened, right? So it was the right
set of people,
type of thinking, and time as well. You know, like comic books was just starting to make a resurgence because Iron Man had come out in 2008, and you know, like wow, what a movie! And everyone was like getting on this, like, ooh, this is getting interesting. So it was, you know, it was that. You know, you have like on a puddle, you have these stones to walk across it. Yeah. But people are a bit wary that, is it going to be solid?
Yeah.
Do I take that step?
Yeah.
We took that step. Right. This is what I believe, you know, and I mean this with no ego, that we put the company on the line, we took that step, and we were like, oh, it's solid. Yeah. All right, let's do it. You know, then so other people could do it, and I'm glad. You know, because this is how the industry goes. This is how we have comic shop now. This is how we have more action figure collectible shops, modeling shops.
They've popped up like crazy everywhere.
Like very niche things as well are the beautiful. There was this one Emirati writer at that time. He'd done the first Arabic manga. His name was Kais Setki. A really gem of a human being, you know. And he came to the first con and stuff. We connected with him and stuff. And he is a geek, and one of his passions was model making as well. He has gone on to create Otaku Emi, which is the best modeling shop in the region, and I would say it's probably better than some modeling shops around the world.
Wow.
Like everything, we started with Gundam, you know, the Gundam robots. And now it's gone into like all sorts of genres, everything from World War II kits, cars, other cute things, all age levels. They do competitions, they do training on how do you make the model, painting, this, that. It's beautiful. And the community is massive. So many talented people. But I am so glad that step we had, you know, the faith and the hope and the madness to take that first step, because it's a beautiful time to be a geek in this part of the world now, because there's so many things people have seen, you know, people want this.
Right.
So, yeah.
But and you're not a part of Comicon anymore?
Not at the moment. We sold it a couple of years ago to Informa Exhibitions.
So when you sold it, what was the last Comicon? How many people had visited it?
The one that we
last
owned ourselves and delivered, I think we'd hit 60,000. That was the big one. That's 2016.
So you handed over at 60,000. Where is it now?
I'm not sure. See, I think it's in the 50s. It's in the 50s. But that kind of makes sense because also the market, you know, like people.
It's also a pyramid effect, and
there's the curve, right? And then the reason why we wanted to sell it is because I think we had reached a point where we were like, look, with our limited resources, we don't think we can grow this any longer, you know, and the community and the fans deserve it to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Whether this is what they've got, I don't know. You have to ask the fans. But this was the idea behind it, and yeah. So that was interesting. That was an interesting time. I mean, things kind of, there were plans. Those plans didn't happen the way we wanted to take it, and everyone kind of fractured. After that, I guess everything has its time, right? So that was an interesting time, which was not very long ago. It was a couple of years ago.
But what are you doing now?
That's
progression.
Exactly it. You know, I was at this crossroads.
But I'm sure you must be contributing in some way to the pop culture here.
Well, thankfully, that's what I decided to do.
You can't be a banker now.
No,
I'm not wearing a tie.
This is my work attire. This is my work attire. Look, it was like 2 years ago. It was like, should I go and get a job? What do I do now? It was at that point. It was like there was nothing, there was no company anymore. It was like, yes, the new owners of Comicon, I'll get some consultancy maybe for them. I was like, I'll have to open a company for this if I want to do consultancy properly.
Right.
And then I was like, there's no one actually doing pop culture consultancy or marketing. There's a lot of people.
Brain of yours. I look how it
It's
works.
a bit weird sometimes, I'll tell you. Yeah, we have lots of conversations. And a lot more companies are wanting to associate themselves with pop culture because they've seen it's growing. So whether it be marketing, whether it be doing events, whether it be doing satellite, things within events. So I was like, okay, I've been very blessed to have built a reputation for being good, to having the experience, and doing things the right way. Let's put that out there now. So I started Domain Entertainment.
Oh wow.
Which the name had like that idea for a company it started many years ago, and I thought, okay, why not take it forward and offer companies, offer brands the opportunity to consult with a company that lives and breathes pop culture, that has the experience, that doesn't just talk the talk but walks the walk. And let's put that out there because I love this, and I know if I love it, I'll put my heart and soul into it.
So do people actually come to you and they say, okay, we need to be engaged in the pop culture, guide us in how to put our brand forward and to sort of, in the sort of be there in the, be alive in the pop culture and benefit from it?
Well, not in the first year. That first year, I was questioning, because there was like this odd spat here and there. I'm like, okay, that's some money. Thankfully, I had savings. So, that kept me going at that point.
Sensible
Otherwise...
A sensible geek, savings.
Right? Come on, man. I was almost 40. I should have something, right? So it was tough. But then things thankfully, like last year actually. Last year is when things really started to pick up, which I'm very grateful for. Because it was less like, what am I doing? Is this not the right thing? And I persevered. And so to answer your question, most recently it's been supporting events.
Okay.
Like pop culture events, not necessarily Comicons. Actually, it's not been any Comicons. It's been the genre, you could say, so gaming, toys, and other elements, throughout. I did something. What did we do? We did something small earlier last year for the Sharjah Children's Reading Festival. We brought some artists down to do some interaction with kids. I have this Instagram page for the company, and I keep on meaning to I should give it to a colleague or somebody or someone who will help me because I'm so bad at it. Like the last 3 things that we've done have not been updated on that. I really need to do that. But then there were quite a few events that came to us. It's so interesting. Okay, I'll give you again. I'm like this whole no coincidence thing. That I believe in. Okay, so I had a meeting, and then I had another meeting, and I had about half an hour, 40 minutes to kill in between that meeting. And I couldn't go back home, or I was like, should I go to a coffee shop and do some work? Me being a geek, I was like, no, I'm going to go to Comic Stop and just chill out for half an hour at the comic shop, right?
Right.
Yeah. Why not? I think it's on the way. Yeah, I'm going to stop by. I know the guys there, I know the owner, they're all good friends. Yeah. And sort of one of the guys, there was only one guy there at the time, and he was like, Arafat, do you mind if I just go out? I need to get some stock in. Yeah. Do you mind just like watching the show? I was like, yeah, of course, man, no problem. I'm here, no big deal. And these two people came in, and I was like, oh, hello, sorry, hi, blah, blah, the owner's not, can I help you? I just said, can I help you or something? They were like, yeah, we're from this event, this gaming festival that we're doing here. And, we're here to meet the owner. Yeah. And I was like, all right. Hi, by the way, my name is, So, look at that. Yes. I could have chosen to do anything else that with those 30 minutes that I had.
But you were there.
But I followed what? My heart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I could have gone to a coffee shop, let's do some work. Sensible thing. No, I followed my heart. Yeah. No, I want to go and check out the comic shop this week. I haven't done that. Yeah. And what did that lead? That led to a contract.
A lot of people will be heading to the comic shop now.
Yeah, seriously. That led to a contract for work for this cool event that I did. And then there was through one of my colleagues who supports me as well. Someone got in touch with her. They wanted us to support developing an entertainment schedule and entertainment for a toy festival in Riyadh.
Wow. So Riyadh is the place to be now.
They're doing Saudi is doing some great stuff.
Yeah.
You still got a lot of great stuff happening here as well, which I'm working towards as well this year. So that momentum started in summer last year.
Okay.
Summer. Where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you're supposed to be locked in your houses.
Exactly, and that summer I was scratching going, just give it until this new, quarter starts, and then we'll decide. And things just started moving, and they've been moving since, I think,
Alhamdulillah.
Again, it's just that just do it, and it will start coming. And I truly, truly believe that, I know sometimes when you say stuff like that, people listen to it and go, the hell are you talking about, man? But I think it's about believing that. If you in your heart of hearts, you believe, if I give it my all,
the universe works toward giving it back to you. Yes.
The universe is there to help you, whether you want to call the universe God, whatever there is, I think
the energy, basically.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. There is that energy, however you want to believe that it's there. This is what I believe, and it conspires to help you.
So with Farrukh, it's the screensaver on his laptop.
Nice.
Yeah, the new Shelby, man. 2020.
When with my obsession for cars, right?
Yeah.
So when I bought my first
I remember first time we met, you were driving the Type R.
Type R. So before that, I had the first car I ever bought, which I was when I was in DHL with my own money. It was like, of course on mortgage, because I was making like $5,000. I bought a Hyundai Coupe.
Oh, okay,
manual.
Yeah.
44,000 dirhams.
Wow.
Like brand new, from the showroom and everything. And then the Type R was released. And I started obsessing over this car. Wallpaper, reading about it. Few years later,
it happened.
Had the option. This was the first year they actually sold the car for much less than the second year, by the way.
Oh.
So the first year, the Type R was sold at 72. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I still have the Hyundai. It's not that old. Then I got a decent price. I was like, okay, let's get the Type R. I want this car. The next year, it went from 72 to 90,000.
Oh.
At 90,000, I wouldn't have been able to afford it. So the 72, I was like, okay, I will manage it.
See, there's that part about taking the leap of faith as well. And it works not only in these collections and things it works everything.
I think so. I think life. They say I was telling you about my wife, and I was telling you she's a clinical hypnotherapist, and there's a certain way, and before, we were together, we were really good friends, and, she changed the way my mindset changed, and so did my ex-wife actually as well, and the way to sort of look at the world in a different way. And it's interesting, and I think there's hints of this where I've been talking about this thing of building it, and it'll come, and just having the faith and the belief. And I really sort of believe that if you do something out of love, like true love, like even if it's material,
right,
like collecting comics or whatever, it's materialistic,
yeah,
but you're doing it out of real like love, you love this thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I would buy cars, it's like,
right,
oh man, I love this. It's not that I was ungrateful with what I had.
Yeah.
right.
I was so happy with what I had, and I was so grateful for this. But it was just like, oh man, that's so, I wish I could have that one day. It's that kind of thing.
I so want you to say that again, just looking at her. Please.
So for me, cars are just a body and four wheels.
No, man.
No,
After
man.
all this time, still, you're not doing your job right, dude. You're not doing your job right.
So I think it was a couple of days into our marriage.
Yeah.
And I had a souped up old school Toyota, what do you call it? In this part of the world, I think it's called Toyota Sprinter or Toyota Truno.
The 86.
Yeah, so the old 86. So I had a 75 model.
Yeah.
I hate that car.
It was beautiful, man. I remember it.
Yeah. You visited. You saw it. So
the red one.
Yeah.
I remember.
So I had it swapped. So I had swapped off Nissan 240 drivetrain into it. So it was really quick and much more what we call as Battamiz.
Yeah, right.
Than it was built for.
Yeah.
And then a few days into our marriage, I think we were coming from one of these lunches or dinner or something like that, and she's like sitting all decked up like a bride and all, and I'm like, hey, I want to show you something cool. She's like, what? And I just go, I pick up speed, and then I pull the handbrake, and I go fishtails. He's like, I'm gonna die. I don't want to die.
That's what you wanted to show her, like,
and I was like,
no warning.
I was like, yeah. I was like, I thought she'd find it cool, and then from then on,
it was your fault, man.
I jinxed
First experience.
I jinxed it. I should have taken it slow. When you press this, and you do this, the car will slide off. But man, honestly, so cars are something that we connect a lot.
Yeah.
You had the NSX.
And that was another.
I missed that car.
Don't tell me I missed that car, man.
How can you guys talk about it like that?
Even that car, the NSX, okay? The NSX, it's like this classic, what they call the Japanese supercar, okay? It used to sort of battle it out with Ferraris of stuff of the 90s, and beat them.
Yeah.
And so I had become like this Honda fanatic. I upgraded to the S2000, thanks to the support of my ex-wife as well. And then I'd always, then it was like, the NSX, I wish one day I could have it. But they never sold it here, so you didn't have them naturally in this part of the world.
I think there were two here only.
Two at that time. And one of the friends, because there were car clubs and stuff like that, one of the friends, there was this really nice Canadian guy, Cameron, who had a beautiful NSX. And one day, we would always talk about it when we met. He comes to me one day when we're meeting, he's like, Arafaat, do you want to buy my car? I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I'm thinking of getting another one. He had a good job. And I was like, how much are you selling it for? And he told me, I was like, dude, I can't really afford that, but let me see, And I was talking to my ex at the time. She was like, oh, why don't I ask my sister-in-law? Because I couldn't take another loan because I'd already taken a loan on something, so there was no way, I could even take a loan to buy that car. And so my sister-in-law was taking a personal loan at that time for her university that she was doing in the UK. And she was like, oh, I'll ask her if we can take. I was like, I don't want to ask her. She's like, been working and getting that loan to put herself through university. No. That's not, that I don't feel good. She went and asked anyway, which was very kind of her. And my sister-in-law was just like, yeah, of course, it's Arafaat, sure, pay the money. How much was the money? Exactly the amount that the guy had asked for the car.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Unbelievable.
And then sort of, we paid, of course,
Yeah.
the university,
Yeah.
an installment, thankfully. And I owned a dream car.
It really is. Till today, it is a dream car.
I wish I had enough money at that time that I could have kept it and bought new cars, because at that time I had two cars. I had the S2000 and the NSX.
Yeah.
NSX, there was some issue with it. We only found out about the end, so it was in the garage a bit too much. It was just an electrical thing in the end. But what I realized about myself is I'm not that kind of person with multiple cars.
Oh, okay.
I'll have one nice car and I'm happy with that. I would love to, don't get me wrong. I would love to have a garage. I would love to have, inshallah, one day, like a huge place where I can store lots of cars and have them taken care of. But where I am now in life, I like to drive my car. And I feel that I'm not that sort of person who goes out on the weekends.
Yeah.
I never have been. Weekends is for
White
chilling.
shoes and white pants.
Yeah,
and
no,
white shirt.
not happening. And if I go out, it'll be, for a nice meal, movies. I'm not that sort of person who's like, ooh, weekend car, I'm going to take this cool car out. I don't do that. Maybe I used to once upon a time in my younger days. But it's just not so. The car is wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
almost,
hate
which
people who
I
just like
feel
to collect.
bad.
Just you don't enjoy the car. You don't.
What's the point, right?
That's the point, man.
So
especially,
can you relate your love? I'm sorry, I'm just going off topic now. Can you relate your love for the cars with the pop culture thing? Because in a lot of ways,
I think they're very related. You've got the DeLorean, you've got the Bumblebee, they all plug into all of that.
Yeah, there are a lot of pop culture cars.
Yeah.
There are a lot of pop culture cars.
You have the Beatles bus.
Eleanor.
That's you have the Eleanors and
A-Team Van, Knight Riders, all sorts. That's what I grew up with as well. But I think it's also that kind of personality, that slightly obsessive personality.
Yeah.
Because I've always been obsessive over my cars.
Yeah.
I've been obsessive over my comic books, my collection.
Yeah.
It's almost, I think it's that personality almost, that it's not just a car.
Yeah.
It's a friend almost, I name my cars, they have personalities,
Right.
And with sort of the comic books, and I'm still like this, like if somebody else wants to read a comic, my comic books, I'll be like, you want to have a look at it? Okay, sit here, let me open it for you here, have a look.
Tell me when you're trying to pay.
Of course, some comics is just like, okay, here, take it, no issues.
So another thing she used to get mad at me was that I would not let her close the door.
Right. That's obsession to another level, Farrukh. But
It's like every time I'd step out, Aram se.
I get it. I do very much get it. I do.
So I have this old, it's an early 90s one-off builds from Nissan. You don't get to see them on their portfolio. It's called the Nissan Figaro.
Yes.
So it's very old 50s Italian design. All of that.
Yeah.
So very, very few in Pakistan. I think 4 or 5 in Pakistan overall. So I was lucky enough to find that car. We had just moved back from here, and we were one day driving back from work. I had left my work, picked her up from her workplace, and then we crossed. And then I have this thing: if I see something, and there's another story to it about another car, and I see a car parked right from my peripherals, and I say, "Ooh." And she was like, what happened? So I'm like, I saw that car and blah, blah, blah. So we were just passing, and there was this car inside of a showroom, within the fenced gate and all. And I'm like, and then she's like, no, look straight. See where you're going. No, we're not stopping. So I have to stop.
Awesome.
I stopped. It was locked. The showroom was closed. I just,
Literally.
I can understand this.
And then I sit back in the car. I said, I need to have this car. And at that time, we had just moved back. We didn't have any money. I was actually driving my younger brother's car.
Right.
So I didn't have any car.
Right.
So I was like, we need to buy this car. And we were having a baby. And she's
which
like,
we delivered about 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
From that moment.
Oh, damn.
So
from that day. Yeah. So to set the timeline right. And then she's like, no. And one, it's tiny, so it's basically a 2-seater with a small 2+2 kind of configuration. And two, what car is it? Why do you want it? Blah blah blah. All of that. No need. Get one of those.
Let's get a Swift.
Sensible.
Let's get a Suzuki.
Yeah.
All of that.
The Swifts are quite cool.
Yeah. I'm like, not this Swift, trust me. So we had back then it was what used to come here is Amenity or something like that. The old 80s thing was still carrying over till the early 2000s.
Right.
Anyway,
Wow.
so then we go home and we're arguing all around. And I said, listen, let's put a price and let's put a bet. The showroom's closed right now.
Yeah.
If the price, tomorrow we're going to stop again, we're going to ask the price. And if the price is this or below, we buy it.
Right.
And I put a fairly crazy price. She was like, no. I said, okay, let's do it. No, we can't afford that much. I was like, no, let's do it. And then next day we go there, and then I go in the showroom. We have a bet, and the price is almost 50% higher than what I had bet for.
Oh, damn.
Between 30-50% higher. And I'm like, shit, I cannot miss this. And then I start bargaining. And then I'm like, and then after some point, and that time my brother was also with me.
Right.
Slowly, it's me and my brother and she were standing inside the showroom office, and we were bargaining over the car. And then suddenly when I started bargaining, first my brother moved out. Then she moved out. My father-in-law used to work very close by. I had called him over as well, said, we're looking at this car. He had come, and then he moved out.
Everyone was like, lost case.
And then I was alone. And then they were sitting in the car so my father-in-law was in his car and she was in her. And the cars were on and ready to those like burglars saying, run. If they start beating him up, we are going, And then I think, half an hour, 40 minutes, maybe an hour?
No, 40 minutes.
And something like that. And I end up paying the token fee.
They agreed to his price and he got the car that day. And
they agreed to my price.
What did I marry? What?
That's impressive.
Yeah, and then
That's very impressive.
And then when we got home, then we said, okay, we paid the token because I won the bet.
Yeah. Right.
Where do we get the money?
Yeah.
So, and then like you said, things happen, man. They have a way of falling into place.
Yeah.
And then less than a week later, and then 3 weeks later, we were bringing the baby in that same car.
Oh, wow.
And then
God
that was
bless.
another pitch to her. I said, this is not my car. This is Ziad's car. So till today, he's like, my car is there in Pakistan. I want it back.
Nice.
Nice. So that things happen.
Yeah.
So, but then I hate people who like to just collect them, park them in the garage, take them to the shows and all.
To each their own, dude.
But man, enjoy. Like, for
Yeah.
example, just exactly like this, we were just driving somewhere, and through a corner of my eye, I saw one of those. You see these dumpsters, where people throw trash, and then the trucks come and pick them up. Literally within that dumpster, I saw the rear bumper of a car. It was dumped in that way. Like a landfill kind of thing, and it was a mini landfill because all the garbage was on it, and I'm like driving, and we were going to somewhere, and I was like, whoa, and I parked on the side, and I go, and I'm kicking the garbage away, and she's like, this guy's
It's
mad.
so nice to see you haven't changed that much. Honestly, it's so nice to see that passion is still there.
And then I'm like, dude, I gotta do something about this car, and then that I gotta rescue this car.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's in trouble. And then
We don't rescue animals.
Sure.
and then a couple of weeks later, so it took me around 2 months or to trace the owner who had moved off to UK, I think 30 years ago. The car had been lying in that landfill for 15 years. Imagine the rot.
Yeah.
Then we pulled it out. We had to pull it out with a sort of a forklift or kind of thing.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, and
That's pretty cool. No? Okay, no, not
we brought it home.
Nice.
This is a Morris, right?
Yeah, it was a 1952 Morris Minor.
Sweet.
Split screen, 2-door, the only one in Pakistan at this point in time.
Wow. That's cool.
And
That's cool.
yeah, now it's on road. We have it.
Did you show me pictures?
Yes,
I think
yes,
you
yes,
did,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
It has
I
its
didn't
own.
know that this was the.
Yeah, it has its own Facebook
start
page.
of it.
Though I'm not updating that for a very long time because it was at home for the longest time. I think 4 or 5 years because I wanted everything restored back to the original, but have the drivability.
Yeah.
So we did something with the drivetrain and the brake system, suspension, just to up it to the modern
I'm
standard.
impressed at how chalak he is. Honestly, like when he came
Mad
in
Hot
earlier,
Masumo.
he was like, oh, so you got the new car,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't remember mentioning this because I'm not the sort of person who I get a new car, post on Facebook or anything, though I might because it's so pretty. And I was like, did I have this conversation with you? I don't remember it. He was like, no, because it's the only one parked outside, and you would be the only one who would buy this car. And
So
I'm like, damn, dude, you're smart.
Mabruk on the Supra, man,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Thank you. Love it.
What color is it?
It's
Silver
a
grey,
gunmetal.
Yeah,
sort of.
gunmetal.
Okay.
It's very interesting, because I had the CTSV manual. This is my first automatic car ever that I've owned, by the way.
Oh.
I've never owned an automatic car. This is the first one.
I hated the thing about automatic when I got my Mustang.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can I have a Mustang and an automatic?
Yeah.
But then I specifically wanted the California Special. I waited 1 year for that. I ordered it. And then, but the thing was, they were not making it a manual. They were not bringing it here.
No, same.
But then, honestly, sometimes now I do feel that these automatics are really, really good. They're faster than...
This thing, I mean, look, so the...
Like, for example, the new, sorry to cut you, the new Shelby does not, they don't build it in manual.
No?
No. If you, not the GD500.
Right.
If you want so they build the GD350 only in auto, not in only in manual, not in auto, and the GD500 only in auto, not in manual.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah. Check it out.
Damn,
The 2020. But then I think the reason is that these cars are so damn fast and these transmissions are so fast
that it'll
there's
be slower.
no way you can shift.
Will it take you time to get used to the auto?
Actually, no. That's the interesting thing. It didn't. I'm actually quite happy with it because it's such a good auto.
Yeah, it is.
Like, see, look, the newest car I had before this is a 2020.
Yeah.
My previous car was a 2009.
Oh my god.
So that's a heck of a lot of technology.
Oh, yes.
Right? That
11 years, man.
My car was still luxury, right? It was a Caddy. It still had that luxury.
But it's really quick as well. I mean, it's really nice, really fun.
Ridiculously fast and fun to drive. So I was like, I didn't have that much money to spend.
Right.
It's not. I'm not going to go and get a BMW M4,
right?
Because they're not so great anymore anyway. But this thing came out, and I was like, BMW and Toyota.
Yeah.
This is interesting. And when you sit in this car,
it's
like sitting in a BMW. So I was like, okay, am I getting the best of both worlds?
Both worlds. You really are.
Like getting the luxury, but getting that sort of Toyota heritage as well. And honestly, I'm loving it. Like the technology is insane. It's like a bloody computer in there.
Yeah.
And the shifts are so fast.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm saying there's no way you can shift manually that fast.
No way. And
maybe that's why.
I feel it now,
Yeah, and I was just looking at some of the reviews of the GD500. Hint. Wallpaper.
But I've heard the GD350 is a beautiful car, by the way.
Dude, have a look at the 500.
No, I've seen the specs and stuff.
Dude,
sure,
the huge grille.
Yeah.
They got a snake in the middle. My God.
All right, then. But honestly,
Breathe, baby,
look at the GT350. Like I looked at it on Dubizzle as well. It's just that at the end of the day, I said, you know what? I want to go for a brand new car because I just want the peace of mind now with the warranty and the service and stuff. But that GT350, like with no miles.
And by the way, it sounds much better than 500.
Dude, it sounds like the most amazing car ever. Honestly, that GT350. And it's affordable. More affordable than it is brand new.
That's going to be a wrap, guys. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately.
Okay, I have a question that I came here with. It's again about Comic-Con and the pop culture and everything. Sorry, guys.
No, it's fine.
What is your take on Batman? And
Which Batman?
All the Batman movies, like all the actors who've played the character. Do you have, or have you ever been disappointed, or has anybody ever impressed you? Because where Marvel is where it is, and I'm talking to authority here. You also need to give me a list on all the movies that I need to make my son watch for Star Wars. So,
sure.
So with Marvel, the reason why it's so successful was probably, and I believe it's the casting. Because whoever did the casting,
they nailed it.
They nailed it, except one. So
which one?
Ant-Man.
Oh man, I loved Ant-Man. See, the Ant-Man is very interesting because it is very polarizing, that movie. I know friends who say that movie was the worst Marvel movie ever. It was all horrible,
Same
blah, 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 blah. What I loved about it is that it added this comedic element into it in a nice way, because that character in the comics was always slightly funny. That particular Ant-Man, there have been many Ant-Man. That particular Ant-Man was always a bit of a smart talker. So they got the right person, and I like the fact, and no pun intended, that it was a small scale movie, that it wasn't any big global catastrophe. It was just this guy trying to do right by his daughter. And that's it. You know, I really like that, and I think they did so well right by the characters, but that's my opinion.
I somehow could never. I've seen I am more emotional about the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe than my kids are.
Right.
So I go and watch it before they do, so that they don't spoil it for me.
I'll tell you another polarizing opinion that I have. Thor Ragnarok. People absolutely adored that movie. I did not. Because for me, that was not Thor. He became a comedian. I was like, where the hell is Thor a comedian? He's never been like this in the comics.
I did not like Thor in the final movies also, because...
I actually thought it worked because they spread it out. It wasn't all Thor comedy. Whereas in the Thor movie, it was all Thor being a smartass. Like Asgard is being destroyed. Thor is making a joke. I was like, are you kidding me? Like his like entire people and everything he's known is being wiped out, and he's making a joke. Okay, then.
It didn't sit well with me.
There was no gravity to anything in that movie. Like, oh my gosh, big catastrophe happening, joke. Like, so what does any of this matter then if everyone's just making a joke whenever anything happens? There were some beautiful set pieces. The whole thing with the music, was gorgeous. So that element was there.
Oh my God. I think the only reason why that I like that movie is partly because of the music, because I love the music. I would like go stand up and you get a standing ovation for this.
Led Zeppelin, you can't go wrong. I mean,
but why do you think that the DC Comics is it's all over the place?
It has been all over the place, but there are some people who swear by Zack Snyder. I have friends who we joke, but they are that serious. It's like Church of Snyder, like that much faith in his movies. I still don't get it. They're still my friends. It doesn't matter. For me, it was... I don't know. See, look. You can't... especially when it comes to me, the argument of, you don't like DC, you like Marvel, does not come into play, because I like all pop culture if it's good. I don't care where you come from. I loved The Rocketeer, back in the day. Darkman when we were younger. That was all based out of comics, man. Tim Burton's Batman. My God, love them. Still do. Christopher Nolan Batman. Holy cow. For me, it's one of the greatest trilogies in superhero fandom, But this new stuff just did not do it for me at all. It just made things too dark.
Extremely.
Which was the first one? Batman, Superman, which sort of, was the big one that brought them together. Was it Batman, Superman?
No, it was...
No, Superman. Yeah. Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
That first half of that movie was so good.
Yes. True.
So good. The music, regardless, is brilliant because it's Hans Zimmer.
And they're building up the character, and they did a
really fabulous
job.
And I like how they did it,
Yes.
that he's kind of self-exiled.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, this is really cool, this is really cool. And then for the second half of the movie, it was destruction porn. That's the only way I can I can explain it. It was just like, for me, even who likes action, I love action.
Yeah.
For me, even it was just like, oh my god, stop now.
Stop.
You know, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, like how many buildings have you already destroyed? How many, you know?
I actually came out from the theater with a headache, and after Batman vs Superman, I just came. I couldn't see it. I had a headache. I said, I can't watch this.
You know what people see is like, what people say, is that, oh, but what you don't understand is that it's such clever filmmaking because there's this shot is a reference to this and this is a reference. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
As a comic book nerd, I get it.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I can't even put it into words because there are people who love it and there's me.
There are people who love it. It's like, then there's everybody else.
Yeah.
Look, and it's not that it's like completely like blanket, like, oh my god, how horrible is this? There are elements that were great.
Yes.
You know, in all of the movies, there were these elements where you were like, oh damn, this is so cool.
Like Wonder Woman.
Like when Wonder Woman first comes in Batman Superman, her theme song, when she first comes, is goosebumps. You know,
Amazing.
you still get goosebumps. It's awesome.
It's amazing.
But then you have the rest of the movie, which kind of falls apart and doesn't make any sense. But people will, I can name them, who will argue with me, no, this happened because of this, which I'm fine with. You enjoyed it. Yeah. I'm happy you enjoyed it. You know, it's like religion. That's why it's Church of Science. It's like religion. You're happy with your religion? Great. I'm really happy that but don't put it on me.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be my friend no matter what religion you are.
For me, what the problem is, like you love these movies like the Marvel and the DC. I've also loved them. I've never been in any camp, but it's upsetting with the way they're butchering up the DC. Yeah. It's upsetting. I'm Superman.
We deserve better movies.
We deserve better movies. We deserve
agree.
better casting. I'm very
Look, I think the casting has been. I think Ben Affleck could have made a really cool Batman. Some people do love him. Yeah. If it had been a better script and a better story, I feel. Right. I think Robert Pattinson could make a really good Batman with the right script. I honestly do.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Like, don't get me wrong, I hated Twilight. It's like, like every insane person in the world. But he's a good actor.
He's amazing.
He's a good actor. He really is. It's a shame that people only relate him to
Twilight. No, he's a brilliant actor.
To Twilight.
Another one that
but I think he could do a good job. DC does really good animated. So their animated stuff is really good. It's actually better than the Marvel animated stuff. I mean, the recent stuff has been a bit too adult though, which is, but they're and the DC television series are pretty cool. Arrow and Flash. I think they were quite cool in the beginning. I think they've lost their steam a little bit.
About 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I haven't watched. Yeah,
agreed. The same as you.
Yeah, but too many universes, too many things happening.
Got too complicated. Man.
Yeah,
I put off it a little bit earlier than they did.
Yeah,
but then eventually they also.
Yeah.
The whole
kids and all, they were like.
Yeah, it was too convoluted and Flash became a soap opera.
Yes. Mr. Arrow is Mr. Too.
Yeah, no, I think I didn't.
What's your take on kids getting addicted to video games and all of that?
Look.
Fortnite effect.
Look, everything. Have
you played
moderation.
Fortnite?
God, no. I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw the gameplay video because I was interested. I'm a gamer.
Yeah, you were a gamer also.
I still am.
I remember you gave me my first
the
steering wheel, man.
Loved it.
Thing, right?
Yeah.
Loved it, man.
And I was just like, this isn't for me because it's so frenetic.
Yes.
I don't want to play a video game and have pools of sweat. I want to play video games and just enjoy a story and have a good time. And more and more, I'm like playing single player games now. But sorry, to go back.
Are you still playing GT?
I have it. It's still on my thing, and I go back to it once in a while. But I'll be honest. So, I'm
You are on both camps. You are in both
I
camps.
am in both camps, though my Xbox isn't plugged in anymore. It's just my PlayStation.
Okay.
But as far as racing games go, Forza was way better, honestly. GT still, I think, I only used to plug in my Xbox to play Forza.
Yeah.
That's how much I love that game and how much I like car game and racing. It's just those sort of games are just too frenetic for me. Like, I play a couple of online games. Like, I've played Destiny, I played Division, and they're awesome because they're not that insane.
Yeah, that is the exact thing.
I think that's the word. Like,
it is insane.
It's
Yeah.
I
mad.
think,
It's like,
yeah. PUBG and all of that. I mean,
like
the level of addiction that they
kids,
create.
I think, are much smarter than we were when we were kids. I'll say that.
They are. There's
much
no denying
smarter
that. But then at the same time,
and much more capable.
They grew up with the technology, so that's okay. They're not. It's not something that we should be like, oh my God, what a smart child.
No. But at the same time, like you say, I mean, they are smarter. They've grown up with technology and everything.
Yeah.
But then there's so much information coming in as well,
Yeah.
and that requires a bigger firewall.
No,
the way I see it.
Look, when I started working, I remember the time is when you left the office, you could not do any more work because you didn't have a computer.
Yeah.
You didn't have a computer at home.
Yeah.
Right? It was a luxury. It was still a luxury. And even if you had a computer at home, to have everything at your office, to take it to, it was almost impossible. So if you wanted to do extra work, you would have to go back to the office or stay longer.
Yeah.
And once you were gone, people are not going to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
True. It was a nice time. But I appreciate technology. But I believe what you're saying is also correct. There's just so much. It's scary. It's actually scary because as parents, I'm not a parent, but with you guys, I can only fathom what you must go through is like, because how can you control everything that they are exposed to with their devices and stuff now?
True.
It's insanity.
Like, have you watched this Netflix documentary?
Black Mirror.
No, I don't want to talk about Black Mirror, man. That thing upsets me. Because, things like that and 13 Reasons Why really piss me off. Why? Because it's showing the bad side and that's it. Don't get me wrong, Black Mirror is very well made.
Yeah.
It's brilliant and they have some really very smart, they're all very smart, and most of them are very smart. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate that part of it.
But it's just one
bleak.
side of the...
It's bleak, it's darkness, it's fear, it's depression.
It is.
It's like, buddy, we need to balance these things. Sorry, I keep on going on to tangents. Before you said Black Mirror, what was I saying?
You were talking about some documentary, I think.
Don't fuck with kittens.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's a 3-part documentary.
Okay.
Don't watch it with your kids.
Okay.
But why I bring that up is because there is like this part of the web, which I think that thankfully is probably blocked here because having freedom is good, but
not that much.
There's stuff where you're allowed to post up some really horrible graphic stuff. So it's about it. I'm not going to spoil it because I think it's a brilliant, it's unbelievable thing. It starts with this guy who's made a video, and they don't show the video on the documentary because it's too graphic, killing 2 kittens and recording it and posting it up on the internet. And no one, and a site exists that you're okay to post something like this. Yeah, it's your expression. It's fine.
No,
man, you should not be able to. I'm sorry. Expression is fine. Freedom of speech, I get it. I understand it. But this is taking it to another level. And the problem is, what I was going to say is, something like that, kids can see that because they may by mistake into it, or one of their crazy friends link it and watch that. And then your kids are bloody traumatized by seeing this guy killing 2 kittens live, and that can have a flip side effect as if they see this too much, you get desensitized, which is equally as scary. So then I'm going back to your video games.
Yeah, so they are desensitizing people, kids, to some extent.
But like if you have like a Call of Duty game, right? That's an 18 plus game.
Right.
Kids should not be playing that game. Red Dead Redemption, it's an 18 plus game. Grand Theft Auto, it's an 18 plus game. It is for young adults who hopefully have developed their mind or matured, enough that they understand the difference between reality and fiction, right?
Right.
I grew up with gaming. I grew up watching stuff I probably shouldn't have. When I was too young for it, I watched RoboCop. I'm not going around being violent and stuff to people, right? I think if you're brought up well, you're brought up well.
Yeah.
But I think now it's more difficult for parents.
Yeah.
It really is, I believe, And I mean, with something like Fortnite, I think in moderation it's fine. I think in moderation, it's good to be exposed to most things. I mean, not like crazy shit, but like most things. I think it's fine because gaming has been known to develop motor skills, hand-eye coordination, and things like that. It's scientifically.
Yeah.
And I think something like Fortnite, even more so because it's just so insane. You're building, you're shooting, you're moving, And
but there's no moderation in that.
I mean, you have to try and do it, right?
But that's the thing. I'm like, just no.
Right.
I'd rather be the bad cop and say no and have my kids hate me for that particular time.
It's your right as a parent.
But I don't think there's certain games because have you been involved in game development also here, or have you been approached because you are an avid gamer and
not so much game development. I know a little bit. I know some really wonderful, talented people here who have done Arabic versions of the game. So the voice actors and things like that have done the Arabic versions of the games. But I have friends who are in game development. But myself, no, I don't know that much.
Like, have you ever been like? I'm sure they must have some think tanks that what
kind of content should go out.
It's the same as any sort of creating any creative content that way.
Yeah.
It's about creating the world.
Yeah.
It's about like a world that will get people excited and interested to be. Enveloped in it.
Yeah.
The characters. Storyboarding.
Yeah. So it's a full process.
All of that is still there, and then you have the step above it is actually creating the mechanics, having them work.
Yeah.
Like just the bugs that could be in a game, like people. That's the other thing. Complaining is so very easy these days.
True.
Where you'll have a little glitch in a game. And people will be like, oh man, what is this crap? Look at this. You're like, do you realize how many people put this together and did so much to put this together and how lucky you are to be playing this game? Don't complain about one glitch, man. They've spent hundreds of hours, hundreds of people sometimes, creating this for you. So people are so easy to blame and complain these days.
I think that's
and
everything.
Move to the next thing before sorting that issue out or going, finding a way out.
I mean, we know that attention spans have reduced. We see it with now people would, younger, so your kids probably, would rather watch YouTube than actually watch a full form movie or stuff.
And they watch gaming channels.
There you go, rather than playing the game,
Rather than playing the game.
Look, I get that also because I've been part of... we've put up a few esports events as well, and I've been part of esports events, and I have learned to appreciate it.
Yeah,
I have learned to appreciate it. As I grow older. In the beginning, when I was doing esports, like a few years ago, I was just like, why are people watching this? Why don't they just go play it, man?
Exactly.
And then we brought down like international level competitors, and they were playing Counter-Strike and stuff, and I used to play Counter-Strike, and I was watching it when they were playing at that time, and I was like,
these games and these conventions are massive.
I was like, this is so awesome. And you get into it, you're just like, oh shit, oh yeah, it's a sport.
It's like watching any other sport.
Yes,
it's like watching
that's
any
what
other.
we have. As sometimes
And by the way,
don't realize
it is a bigger
sport.
industry than actual sports right now.
Really?
In terms of valuation, in terms of number of people following it, and number of events that they have. It is much.
Chemistry comes in.
There you go. That's why I wanted to touch on this is because this could be a career path also for the kids. Like for Fortnite, the Fortnite championship in the US, I think was it 2 million or something or more, maybe 20 million, something. I forget right now, but it was an insane amount of money, and it was a Pakistani American or something who won.
Yeah.
There you go. You see, like.
Proud parent moment.
No, but like if there is moderation, there is an opportunity now for gaming to be a very viable career also, whether it be playing the game, developing the game, being inspired to create art for potentially a game. So
you also did an anime convention.
We did.
Yes.
We did one in Abu Dhabi, and it was really cool.
They're like some extremely talented individuals.
See, these are all culture, hardcore culture, pop following.
Look, you know what? One thing that doing these events and just watching the people and how happy it makes them always makes me like the happiest. That's what it is. Money is good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But just seeing the people's reactions and how happy they are. So we had brought these big name. Anime theme song singers, Jam Project and Flow. I had not personally heard of them. I knew some of the songs they'd sung, but I didn't know who they were. But I knew that these songs are super popular, and these guys are legends in their own right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we managed, and we somehow did the negotiations, managed to get them. And so the concert's on. It wasn't a huge event. I think over the weekend we got like 7,000, which was really, I think, good for Abu Dhabi event during that time, and such a niche.
Yeah, extremely
niche. So these guys come on and stuff, and they're singing in Japanese. All the songs are in Japanese. And looking at the crowd, and you have these Emiratis, some of the girls in the Sheila Abaya, and singing along in Japanese.
Are you serious?
And the smile on my face. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
They are so passionate that they know the songs in Japanese. And I know I have a lot of
art. It's art.
It is.
It is.
Regardless, it doesn't matter language, right?
Every language, it has no, language barriers.
And anime is such a big thing here, especially because, back in the 80s, we grew up with this sort of stuff, Grandizer and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of sort of trickled down through families and things, this love of it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Emirati friends. And I know a lot of people who actually study Japanese just so they can watch the anime in its perfect form, not dubbed or not subtitled. That's how passionate.
That's passion. Wow.
How awesome is that?
That's incredible.
Like that's more, as far as I'm concerned, that's more
next
passion
level.
than I wouldn't do that. That's more passion than I have for that. So the people are all around, and you don't know where this obsession, if you want to call it, or passion for things will lead. Like if you look at comicon, like going back to that, the one thing that really took us forward, that we have to do this, we have to put on a comicon, wasn't so much about bringing the pop culture here. It was about giving the talent that exists in this part of the world
exposure.
Yes, a platform.
A platform.
Because there's so many unbelievably talented people from this Middle East region.
Yeah.
And the world needs to see that.
Yeah.
You say Middle East, but you also need to include the subcontinent also.
Yes.
We say the Middle East, but because of the position,
India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan,
Bangladesh, these countries, they also reap the same benefits of what is happening here. I know people coming in from Pakistan and from all over, this region to be a part of the Comic-Con.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's happening.
Yeah, I've met people from Pakistan who came over and doing comic books, publishing comic books. I was like, you guys create this in Pakistan? What? Wow. I met the owner of India Comic-Con, Delhi Comic-Con, really nice people, also very passionate. Like being exposed to all of this, now I have like friends from around the world who are comic creators, like here, who live here. One's a professor from, I think, Zayed University. He created this beautiful thing called the Resurrection Lands. There's a Sri Lankan creator, a writer and artist.
Wow.
Sachi, good friend and so talented, a writer who's actually publishing or has had his book published internationally,
Wow.
but based here, Andrew Clemson,
It's incredible.
such talented people.
And what I felt with Comic-Con or with the Marvel movies or the DC movies, it's bringing the generations together. So for me,
it's becoming mainstream. It's not.
It's not something. And for me, I have for hours I can sit with my boys and their friends and explaining the movie and the bits and pieces and how this piece, it's how these things are related, or it's bringing them together. It's bringing the generations together. There was a generation gap before us.
Yeah, which is beautiful.
Which is sort of and when people, I have been unfortunate that I could never visit the Comic-Con for one reason or the other, but it's something sad, hang my head in shame.
Shocking.
But I could see parents and kids bonding and over the fact which character should they be, how they
This is what pop culture does, and this is why I'm so blessed to be doing what I do, because this is exactly what pop culture is. It's something that breaks through all generations, all walks of life, all ages, all ethnicities, even more so than something like music
definitely,
or art, because it is popular culture, right? And it really does bring people together.
Yes.
Like Comic-Con was the perfect interpretation of, I think, what Dubai was, which was a melting pot. You had people from all walks of life. You had Emirati girls having, wearing their full shaila abaya, but creating that into some sort of a costume with masks and stuff, and Harry Potter, Jedi cloaks, perfect. This creativity, and then you have a European and an Indian and all. I remember seeing this one scene where there was Chewbacca, Deadpool, and I think some Harry Potter character all standing around having a conversation. And I was just like, this is amazing. This is it. This is what it's all about.
It's a dream, honestly.
And this is the beauty of pop culture, and why I want to continue to do it as long as I can, is because it really does bring people together.
Yeah.
Oh my God! First, not going to Comic-Con, and then having her thing on Ringer, huh?
Dude.
I mean, come on, man. What's going on here?
Just completely messing things up. Just blown away by the godfather of Comic-Con here with us.
Dude, we had a great one.
It's awesome. Thank you. Really,
Lovely,
thank you. It's so nice to just reconnect as well. And just it's nice having a casual conversation, but also reconnecting with you guys.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for reaching out, you guys. Honestly, I'm so thankful.
We'll catch
for
up
you.
again, maybe outside of the camera setup.
Yeah, for sure.
Or why not? Why not? On camera, in fact.
We could do that too, right?
We'll do that.
It'll be fun. You want to watch that, right? Yeah.
Of course we do. All right, man. Take care.